Good evening. I'm Megan Wolf.
And I'm Jeremy Dawes. Our main headlines tonight.
Security is semi-cycle น่าจะเอฟเฟกต์จากการที่ตอนที่แล้วเราฟ้าผ่าว่าเราน็อกไปแล้วก็กลายเป็นระเบิดเวเตอร์จากเหตุการณ์ทั้งหมดดูก็หน้าตาได้มุกเลยไม่เอาเดี๋ยวชาลีYeah, of course. Cái đóเหมือนจะไม่ค่อยน่าสนใจไม่ nothing happy difficult and really care what we How long when it lasts comfortable ยังไม่เขียวยังเหลืองอยู่ Director Homeอีเวนต์มีแค่เนี้ยนะ
facial sabotage?
Jenny,
Problem?
I want her fired today, now.
Don't worry, Kath, it'll be all right.
No, it won't be all right, Kath. Pack up your weapons of optical destruction and get out.
You realise you're beginning to sound...
I mean it, Kath.
Stay where you are, Kath. Jenny?
This is not Jenny's decision, Jeremy, or yours.
It'll be all right. I'll talk to Buxton.
Oh, good. You can tell him I'll return his wife's casserole dish at our dinner next week. Jenny?
I'm sorry, Kath, you're going to have to leave.
Letting it go to your head.
She nearly blinded
10
me.
seconds,
I thought we were all
everybody!
part of a team these days.
Things are better, Jeremy, you know that. Just stop being so
Going in
high and mighty
5,
and do your job.
4,
You'll have me fired too.
3.
Don't tempt me. Good evening. I'm Megan Wolfe.
And I'm Jeremy Dawson. Our main headlines tonight.
The establishment strikes back. The World Council has agreed today to impose punitive sanctions on the people of this country.
The sanctions, which are broad-ranging, include restrictions on the supply of oil and gas, food, clothing, and even some medicines. But how should we react? We asked the public.
So how do you feel about the sanctions?
I actually think that with Advance in charge, we'll be fine. Of course, the rest of the world will want us to fail, or it'll be their billionaires next. But I trust Julia and Peter.
Thanks, Patrick. Fascinating stuff.
Popular Prime Minister Julia Salisbury has released a reassuringly brave statement in response to the World Council's controversial announcement.
This international declaration is nothing short of outrageous. We are a democratically elected government with massive popular support. We do not recognise these sanctions, and we encourage other socially progressive nations of the world to both resist and ignore them. Advance have struck fear into the heart of the international community by showing that it is possible to have radical change for the betterment of the many. And whilst I wish we could improve other countries as much as we have our own, we do not rely on the help of others to thrive. This country is entirely self-sufficient. We are a team, now more than ever. And this team is on your side. Thank you.
ขอไปล้างแว่นแป๊บหนึงครับ
Defiant stuff. But what do you, the public, think of our government's stance? Robin Short found out.
Hi there. Robin Short, National Nightly News. I was wondering if I could get your thoughts on the current government.
I'm not really very interested in politics, really. As Mother always said, leave politics to the politicians, Malcolm.
Over to you, fellas. Global mega corporation Remington's Fist today announced that trials have successfully completed on their groundbreaking male contraceptive product, Responsibility.
The drug has been passed by the government for general release, but the small print warns that, in rare cases, side effects can include blurred vision, enlarged genitalia, and increased risk of stroke. No double entendre intended.
But what do you, the public, think of Sophia Remington's latest venture? Patrick?
What are your thoughts on the new male contraceptive pill?
They're doing that now, are they? I can't see what's wrong with a washable lamb's bladder. It was fine for me and Harold. All 17 of my kids use the same method to this day. And my firstborn even uses the same bladder. Still at my age, who cares?
Okay, all right, yeah.
The delicate sound of thunder. A frightening start for commuters this morning, who were confronted by a somewhat sinister sight as they left their trains.
Many travellers reported feeling intimidated by the silent figures who stood motionless outside every major station in the capital. Radical extremist group Disrupt, who organised the show of strength, refused to comment on the meaning of the strange protest.
Or to apologise to this presenter for making him drop his morning bagel in surprise.
But how do we feel about these somewhat radical extremists and their upsetting methods? Robin found out.
Can I ask your opinions on Disrupt?
Are those the guys in black with the orange fist thing?
That's right.
Can I be honest?
Of course. This is journalism.
They scare me a bit.
Bubbling up, intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong and Dr. Ingrid Svorsborg-Hawkensford today sent a blueprint of the escape craft in which they hope to finally leave Dante's taint.
With expert opinions of the plan running the gamut from optimistically engineered to that looks like something my granddad made in his shed, it sounds like the unfortunate team are going to need all the thoughts and prayers they can get.
So what should we think about the escape plan? Patrick Bannon again.
So I'd imagine that you think this is a great plan.
Oh my God! How did you know? It's a brilliant idea. I hope everyone gets behind them so that they know that we're with them. In spirit, of course. I can't actually go diving because I'm scared of the salt.
I am not a number. Applications finally opened today for the new Advanced Team membership cards, a scheme by the government to allow fast access to all the new public services being introduced daily.
The team membership cards are entirely voluntary, but will be recognised as legal identification by all major organisations, including the police, banks and, rightfully, pubs and bars.
And of course, there's no charge, Jeremy.
It all seems too good to be true.
Well, you've always been a cynic. But most importantly, what should you, the public, think about the new team membership cards?
Team membership cards.
Oh yeah, fantastic. I'm applying today. I mean, why wouldn't you? What are these protesters doing? They don't want us to know who their names are. Besides, have you seen the savings you can get? I'm getting one for the little one as well.
Oh, how adorable.
Yeah, gonna be a proper little team member, aren't you? Yes, he smiled. He smiled.
And finally tonight, getting stuck in a shameless attempt to cash in on his bad boy status, shamed celebrity Johnny Hamsleeves announced a new line of real ale at a press conference earlier today.
The new brew, entitled Headbutt Ale in reference to his controversies of last year, promises a night you'll pretend you regret.
Or possibly a night you'll pretend you remember.
So what should we all think of Johnny's latest attempt to market his notoriety? Patrick?
Disgusting.
Wise words there.
Later tonight, in a bit of a switcheroo, it'll be Jeremy in the culture chair, spitting rhymes with popular rapper Jay Zus. And then we'll both be chatting with a familiar team of thespians set to take the nation by storm again.
That's all coming up on tonight's
National Nightly News.
Thankfully, some news as we return to our main story.
The World Council today agreed that punitive and potentially illegal sanctions should be imposed upon this country. The sanctions, which come into effect immediately, aim to stop the flow of food, fuel and even some medicines from reaching your pockets.
Tonight, we have guests from across the continent to discuss this unprecedented situation. For Advance, Peter Clement is at his home in Lamfordshire. Are you there, Peter?
Yes, I can hear you, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
A momentous day, Prime Minister. Are you shaken?
Oh, I don't scare that easy, I'm afraid, old son. And neither do the people of this country.
Well, joining us is Ivan Vodovich, Foreign Minister of Urkistan. Ivan, thank you for being here.
It's a great pleasure. You, Megan Wolf, are like strongest guard at Labour camp who wake up inside body of crazy, expensive prostitute. In my country, you will be worshipped as a god.
Okay.
Minister, as one of those arguing most strongly for these sanctions, how do you feel about Advance's defiant stance?
Advance is like man who think he have big career in movies land, when actually he in dirty sanitarium, screaming at mirror and holding tiny penis in hand.
He's clearly not from Svenland, and we have like some of the cleanest mental health care facilities in the continent, yeah?
And welcome to Svenland's Minister of Mojo, Björk. I'm sorry, we don't appear to have your surname.
It's just Björk, yeah. We don't use things like socially divisive surnames here, yeah?
Minister?
It's just Björk, yeah.
Right, Björk. Your country spoke in favour of Advance at the World Council today, but you were noticeably absent when it came to the actual vote.
Well, what a surprise. The hippies didn't show up for the fight.
Actually, that's quite racist, because if you must know, we were going to go to the whole, like, voting, yeah? But it's actually the Festival of Furelands here at the moment, where we honor the old generations. So, like, we all had to work our grandparents clean, yeah, whilst the vote was happening, and that's, like, a really, really time-consuming process, actually.
You're like a sissy man. You have this expression, sissy man? Is like man with tiny penis who like to wash more than once a week.
Actually, that's quite homophobic, yeah,
Oh,
because...
stop winding him up, Ivan. We're not back at the Grange now. Sorry, Jeremy. Ivan and I used to play golf back in my media days.
Yeah, he always wins.
Nothing gives him greater pleasure than grinding people's gears. The more publicly, the better.
Peter, you're like man with tiny penis who think he have tiny penis, but actually he discovered that. Oh, could it be? No, it's tiny penis.
Ivan's just worried that when the rest of the world sees how well we're doing, they'll notice all that dosh that he's got squirreled away. Because that's what these sanctions are, Megan. They're the last pathetic gasp of an establishment in collapse. Wolves at the gates, Ivan, old mate.
Good. It can join others on my wall.
Actually, in Svenland, we have, like, serious animal welfare legislation. And, like, my friend Helge, she got arrested, yeah, for killing a butterfly that was hovering over her fuel thing. I mean, in English, jam sandwich.
I used to know a girl called Jan Sandwich. She was a right cracker, too. I wonder what became of her.
We seem to be wandering a little from the news here.
That's human interest, Jeremy. The real people behind the headlines and all that. So if you're watching, Jan, give us a call.
Really?
Yeah. Let's see if we can't organise a reunion.
Crash, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to run it past Mrs. Clement first, eh?
Peter, you're like man trying to empty ashes of mistresses into oncoming vent. Soon you have tiny penis and beard full of secrets.
In Svenland, we don't really go in for all that restricted monogamy stuff here. We're kind of fluid, actually.
Okay, well, it seems that we are running out of time.
Yes, so before we go to the break, briefly, if you would, gentlemen, with the people of this country facing shortages and
possible shortages and power outages.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Possible shortages and power outages. Can you summarise your thoughts for us, Minister Björk?
Well, from here, yeah, you all look a bit stupid really arguing about outdated divisive concepts like money. In Finland, we replaced currency with a system of bodily fluids back in the 1970s, and that's like really hard to sanction, actually.
Thank you, Minister Vodovich.
Your country is like man who think he invented perfect trap for giant mutant hairy bear, when really he just standing in field
holding his tiny penis. Yes, thank you, Minister. And finally, Prime Minister Clement.
Let me talk to your viewers here, Jeremy. Don't worry, everybody. Don't be afraid. Don't even lose a wink of sleep. We knew the rest of the world would react this way, and we're ready. As my old man used to say, you can't make a shite pie without blocking a few toilets.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Reassuring words there.
We'll be back.
After these messages.
1 minute back.
Hey, Peter, I over your way this weekend. You fancy a quick 9?
Yeah, sure, front or back.
That's what I hope you're asking Megan Wolf for me.
She's out of your league, mate.
Is to be wanted and loved. Sadly, however, these days this sort of conversation happens far too often.
So, you know, Brad, this past fortnight has really...
This is important. New government censorship should show up in blue. Same as regular censoring. Keep an eye out for the advanced blue waveform.
But we've only been on 5 dates. I don't even know you, Julie.
Janet.
Marriage and children seem to be a pretty big decision to make in a wine bar, Janet.
There has to be a better way.
Now there Are is. you still meant to bow
Now you can be
to foreign royalty?
What?
Should I just like curtsy?
Hang on. Have they given you the Crown Prince report?
What?
Meghan?
This is Jeremy, and he'll be interviewing you.
Yo, thanks for having me on your show, man.
It's quite all right.
Yo, just a quick one. You're not going to ask me about the chimp, are you?
Live in 10 seconds.
'Cause he put that get up on himself. I'm just saying.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. I'm Megan Wolf. Later, we have an exclusive first look at a theatrical sensation everyone's going to be talking about. But first, it's time to go over to the culture spot with lovely old Jeremy Donaldson, who's joined by a very special guest. Jeremy.
Thanks, Megan. I have the honour and privilege of being joined by hip-hop royalty. He's been called the son of the streets and the father of truth. Not sure how that works, but whatever. Let's welcome Jesus!
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, it's a real honour to be here on your show, The News. You know, as a kid on the streets, I used to watch you through a window of the shop, so to be here right now is crazy.
You've had quite the journey to be here today. Can you tell us about it?
Well, you know, I try not to, well, you know, the past is the past, and I don't like to dwell on it.
I understand you.
But yeah, man, the streets is all I remember. Like, my mother donated me to a charity shop soon after I was born. Elderly lady took pity on me. You know, she let me sleep on a pile of crime fiction until I taught myself how to walk.
Wow, that's quite the childhood.
And she died tragically. Right there in my arms, man. You know, I remember a tear falling as she laid there next to the used homeware. And in that moment, I became a child of the streets. I was just 18 months old.
What a tale. What a tale. You're known for your direct and honest lyrics. Was your style informed by your troubled past?
Oh, like I said, I try not to talk about it. It's just too hard.
Of course.
But my first album is about the story of the first 4 times I stole, so I wouldn't starve. A small group of infants came to see me as their de facto leader. They call me Mr. Cheese Slice. Anyway, we were like a family.
So it would seem. Recently, you've been quite outspoken about the government.
Yeah, fuck the government. Fuck Advance. Fuck Peter Clement.
What is it that you object to so vehemently?
Well, you know, they stole from us. They're taking our money and spending it, man.
Redistributing it. Actually, homelessness has been all but eliminated in the last couple of months.
So?
Surely that's a cause close to your heart?
Yeah. Nah, of course, man. Very much so. I just mean, like, why do I have to pay for it, you know?
You don't. People have been rehoused on property seized from the historically wealthy. And that couldn't have been you, could it?
Look, yeah. I worked hard to be here. I built this from nothing, and I deserve to be rewarded for that.
Would you say you worked harder than, say, a farmer or a care worker?
I don't know. But if people are taking something from my music, choose to value it, buy it, who's to say I don't? And no one can take that away from me.
Not even to help, say, vulnerable children? Mr. Cheese Slice?
What is it you're trying to say?
I just don't understand where you've placed yourself politically. I mean, is it ideological or is it tactical?
Well, it's more of
Or
like...
maybe it's hereditary.
Stop trying to tie me in knots with your words, Jeremy. I let the music speak for itself. And the people agree with me.
Well, that remains to be seen. But you have given me a very easy segue out of a conversation that I promise you was much more painful for me than it was for you. So here he is with his hit song, Mrs. Ludlow's Tears.
Oh, no. I'm going to do something a little different. It's a new single I've been working on.
Oh, so this is unapproved, is it?
Yeah. You love it.
Excellent. Don't worry, we've got a state-of-the-art censorship system. What's the worst that could happen? So here he is with a new song. Aren't we lucky? It's Jesus!
First, you're gonna pay up. You're gonna pay back.
Well, we're all different races from many different places. At any given moment, only one could be the greatest. So you can feel elation from your participation. Still two leaders in this motherfucking nation. Now we're getting sanctioned, talking about expansion. Why does Julie H require a massive fucking mansion? So fuck all your schemes. I don't need your freaky team, and I don't need your help to achieve my...
Oh no ไม่คิดว่าแรปมันจะแดงขนาดนี้โอ้โหแค่สลับซีนก็ยากแล้ว
This is important. New government censorship should show up in blue. Same as regular censoring. Keep an eye out for the advanced blue waveform.
We've only been on 5 dates. Marriage and children seem to be a pretty big decision to make in a wine bar, Janet.
There has to be a better way.
Now there
Are
is
you still meant to bow
Now you can be
to
doubly
foreign
safe
royalty?
with these.
What?
This is
Should I just, like, curse?
responsibility. The
Hang on.
world's
Have they
first
given you the
male
Crown Prince
contraceptive
report?
pill.
Well,
Real men don't have
Megan.
to worry about difficult
This is
things
Jeremy,
like
and he'll be interviewing you.
In our almost entirely successful
Yo, thanks for having me on your show, man.
It's quite all right.
Yo, just a quick one.
I'm
You're not
allowed
going to
to
ask
say
me
they're
about the
safe to
chimp, are
take.
you?
Live in 10 seconds.
See, put that get up on himself.
Because children shouldn't be by accident. Let's face it.
Going in
condoms
5,
suck.
4, 3.
Welcome back. I'm Megan Wolf.
Welcome
Later,
back.
we have an
I'm
exclusive first look at a theatrical sensation everyone's going to be talking about. But first, it's time to go over to the culture spot with lovely old Jeremy Donaldson, who's joined by a very special guest. Jeremy.
Thanks, Megan. I have the honour and privilege of being joined by hip-hop royalty. He's been called the son of the streets and the father of truth. Not sure how that works, but whatever. Let's welcome Jesus!
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, it's a real honour to be here on your show, The News. You know, as a kid on the streets, I used to watch you through a window of the shop, so to be here right now is crazy.
You've had quite the journey to be here today. Can you tell us about it?
Well, you know, I try not to, well, you know, the past is the past, and I don't like to dwell on it.
I understand you.
But yeah, man, the streets is all I remember. Like, my mother donated me to a charity shop soon after I was born. Elderly lady took pity on me. You know, she let me sleep on a pile of crime fiction until I taught myself how to walk.
Wow, that's quite the childhood.
And she died tragically. Right there in my arms, man. You know, I remember a tear falling as she laid there next to the used homeware. And in that moment, I became a child of the streets. I was just 18 months old.
What a tale. What a tale. You're known for your direct and honest lyrics. Was your style informed by your troubled past?
Oh, like I said, I try not to talk about it. It's just too hard.
Of course.
But my first album is about the story of the first 4 times I stole, so I wouldn't starve. A small group of infants came to see me as their de facto leader. They call me Mr. Cheese Slice. Anyway, we were like a family.
So it would seem. Recently, you've been quite outspoken about the government.
Yeah, fuck the government. Fuck Advance. Fuck Peter Clement.
What is it that you object to so vehemently?
Well, you know, they stole from us. They're taking our money and spending it, man.
Redistributing it. Actually, homelessness has been all but eliminated in the last couple of months.
So?
Surely that's a cause close to your heart?
Yeah. Nah, of course, man. Very much so. I just mean, like, why do I have to pay for it, you know?
You don't. People have been rehoused on property seized from the historically wealthy. And that couldn't have been you, could it?
Look, yeah. I worked hard to be here. I built this from nothing, and I deserve to be rewarded for that.
Would you say you worked harder than, say, a farmer or a care worker?
I don't know. But if people are taking something from my music, choose to value it, buy it, who's to say I don't? And no one can take that away from me.
Not even to help, say, vulnerable children? Mr. Cheese Slice.
What is it you're trying to say?
I just don't understand where you've placed yourself politically. I mean, is it ideological or is it tactical?
Well, it's more of a
Or
like...
maybe it's hereditary.
Stop trying to tie me in knots with your words, Jeremy. I let the music speak for itself. And the people agree with me.
Well, that remains to be seen. But you have given me a very easy segue out of a conversation that I promise you was much more painful for me than it was for you. So here he is with his hit song, Mrs. Ludlow's Tears.
Oh, no. I'm going to do something a little different. It's a new single I've been working on.
Oh, so this is unapproved, is it?
Yeah. You love it.
Excellent. Don't worry, we've got a state-of-the-art censorship system. What's the worst that could happen? So here he is with a new song. Aren't we lucky? It's Jesus!
First, you're gonna pay up. You're gonna pay back.
Well, we're all different races from many different places. At any given moment, only one could be the greatest. So you can feel elation from your participation. Still two leaders in this motherfucking nation. Now we're getting sanctioned, talking about expansion. Why does Julie Ennis require a massive fucking mansion? So fuck all your schemes. I don't need your freaky team, and I don't need your help to achieve my fucking dreams. So don't make a fuss when you find you're one of us. Get every single one of you's a bit Jesus. And you can call me crazy, cause no one ever pays me. But I won't waste a lifetime being motherfucking lazy. I may be inventive, my taste may be expensive, but why would I get out of bed with no fucking incentive? Although it's contravention of your obvious intention, I like to eat a little of the fruits in my invention. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. The best of the praise of the crest of the wave, cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clement's motherfucking head, cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. It's time to stone the castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. So this is for the snub ones, the push and the shove ones, the folks that feel the burden of their motherfucking loved ones. Ones who had plenty like a motherfucking Bentley. The ones who now finding out their bank accounts are empty. The ones of aspiration who had to flee a nation. The ones who built a business out of dreams of perspiration. There's all sorts of people, the good and the evil. It only takes a glance to see we're not all equal. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. And the best of the praise serve the crest of the ways, cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Gonna take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clement's motherfucking head, cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Time to stone the castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Get out of your seats, get your asses in the streets, set a fire in the building, let them feel some fucking heat. Say you hate to go getters, you're squilling bet betters, and burn them on the pyres of Advance's fucking letters. Gonna take his facts, gonna stain it red. Gonna slam it into Peter Clemens' motherfucking head. Cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Time to storm the castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Chase that dream, you don't need a fucking team. And advances little dances aren't as harmless as it seems. Cause they're stale and corrupt, then your anger erupt. Then your hearts and your minds and your fists to destruct.
Jesus there with his new song. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. I'm sorry. I may not agree with you, but I'd just like to offer you an apology. I've just been told that there was some kind of issue upstairs and an attempt was made to censor some of your lyrics.
What? Are you joking?
I'd just like to say to you and everyone at home that this was a mistake.
This is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe this.
Here at the National Nightly News, we pride ourselves on remaining neutral, unbiased, and independent of any outside interference. You have my word. We will never censor ideas. Back to you, Megan.
Well, a bit of dangerous language there, sorry about that. Well, thank you to little Jeremy Donaldson for providing our culture spot. Coming up, we'll be speaking to a couple of familiar faces about their upcoming dramatic outing. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
That's the ad.
Just to remind you, fixing that old VCR.
No, this is ridiculous. Who's
Past that break.
This is just a mix-up, I'm sure. Now, if you come with me, I really do have to ask
Oh,
you to
trust
leave
me.
it.
My father's going to hear about this.
I understand. This is unbelievable, Megan.
I don't know what you're talking about, Jeremy.
Đã đi rồi, yeah, đi sát tay song.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, stop it.
Look at him.
If we could just get you in position.
Oh, say no more. Say no more.
Megan, Jeremy, you remember Mr. Algebra?
Vividly.
And Mr. Harris, and this is Ms. Radin.
What?
Philippa, please.
We're back together again, eh? Who'd have thought it?
Perhaps a lower order demon.
Yes, it is awfully exciting, isn't it?
Right, okay then. We're going live in 10 seconds, opening on camera 1.
Sorry. Cheers.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. And no, you're not mistaken. Sitting across from us are some very familiar faces.
You really are too kind, Megan. It was only a yogurt commercial, but I'm still proud of it.
Here to talk about his new show, we're joined by National Treasure Tommy Harris, the National Theatre's Philippa Radin, and National Deficit Jeff Algebra.
It's so lovely to have you all. Tommy, would you like to tell us about the show?
You know what? I'd bloody love to. It's about me. It's about my life.
And where did the idea come from?
So, right, picture this. Their legs akimbo, mid-session, sweat is pouring out of me like an immense hog. And then Cindy comes in, she says, Pete's on the phone.
That's Peter Clement, the Prime Minister.
Yeah, Pete's actually a really good mate of mine.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, no, he comes to training sometimes. He's actually a pretty good goal sweeper. Anyway, so, yeah, Pete, he says, Toby, he thinks my name's Toby, see? He says, how would you like to spread your message of team spirit and cooperation across this fractured nation? How would you like to really make a difference in these desperate times?
What did you say?
Yeah, right, yeah.
So, Jeff, the question on everyone's lips is, what in God's name are you doing here?
Well, after the success of my debut work and all the people that I've touched, I knew that I had a career in theatre. Yeah? I've always been an admirer of Tommy from afar. So when my manager phoned and said that I'd been offered the gig as director, I was ecstatic. I whipped my trousers off and got straight to work.
Why did you do that?
I do all my best work with my trousers off.
Yeah, I've been told that too.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Right, Tommy, sorry, would you just give us a sense of what the show is actually about?
It's about how hard it's been for me and some of the struggles that I've faced. It's like really getting to the heart of how tough it is to be me. I call it Tommy Harris. Jesus, that was hard.
It's catchy. We actually have some clips of the process of the show. Would you mind telling us what's going on here?
Yeah, so the show is built around two things that are very important to me. It mixes scenes from my life as well as epic fantasy retellings of scenes from my life.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
I'm sorry, son. You're an embarrassment.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
Back, demon! Back to the hells!
Wow. Philippa, what's it been like co-starring with Tommy Harris?
I've always dreamed of treading the boards at medium-scale regional theatres, Megan. And for once, this show really gives me something to sink my teeth into.
What's different about this show, then?
Tommy, Mr. Harris's show really lets me show my tremendous range as an actor. I've always suffered from typecasting, forced to play the same tired characters in every god-awful yogurt advert or godforsaken soap opera or, God forbid, a pantomime. But, you know, this show has really let me just go there.
Jeff, the viewers at home will be dying to know exactly what is it that you bring to the show?
Oh, good question. I think these guys would agree with me when I say that it's my steady hand on the tiller, my arm round the shoulder approach that's really brought the production from strength to strength.
Absolutely right. Jeff's contributions are immeasurable. He was our rock.
Can you give us a sneak peek of anything else that might be in the show?
Yeah, all sorts, yeah.
Yep. We've got lots of exclusive first-hand experiences of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
And some epic fantasy retellings of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
You'll never take the sacred pass!
And am I right in saying this was officially commissioned by the government?
Yeah, all paid for by the taxpayer, which, you know, to be honest, was actually a lifesaver, really.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that without Advance's support, we'd have had to cut the finale.
Which, frankly, would have been a travesty.
Oh, God, Jesus Christ!
Goodness, and you do this every night?
Absolutely. It's a metaphor.
For what?
Death.
And the public are footing the bill, are they?
Too bloody right they are. Between the cost of my tour bus and the dry cleaning of my ties, I'm barely scraping a profit here.
Amazing. And where can the folks at home come and see this for themselves?
We're performing all over the nation.
And people can see it for absolutely free, all courtesy of Advance. Isn't that incredible, Jeremy?
Yes, it's unbelievable, Megan.
Well, thank you all so much for coming. Next time we see you, no doubt you'll have taken our jobs.
Yeah.
That's all we have time for tonight. Join us tomorrow when I'll be interviewing the world's most attractive horse. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. And from all of us here, have a peaceful night.
That's the ads. Let's get reset for tomorrow, please.
Hey, we must stop bumping into each other like this, eh?
Oh.
Oh,
น้องสันเขาครับโดนแกล้งตลอดเลยจากเมน อ๋อลืมจะเต้ง
Now then, Alex, you'll notice that the valves are heating up excessively due to the current heat wave. When they get too hot, the trip switch will blow, as you've seen. Once things have cooled down and the trip switch is back to normal, you can get the power back on. You should keep the fan pointed at the correct valve by aiming it up and down. The middle gauge when you're facing the screens will warn you, so keep an eye on it. Also, maintenance tells me that the fan power switch occasionally turns off for no good reason, so keep an ear open for that too. I'm sure you've already worked all this out though, Alex. You're a rising star of this network and we're all very
What,
proud
you've
of
got
you.
someone to hose down the sun, have you?
Yes, they've just strapped on their wax wings.
Classical illusions are no substitute for air conditioning.
You know, I genuinely thought you'd be in a better mood today. She's not even here.
Yes, but he is. Our gun-toting handler.
Who, Andy?
I don't know what the fuck his name is, do I?
He's here to keep us safe from people like Disrupt.
More like keep us in line. I hate guns. Give me the willies.
10 seconds, everybody.
So, we've got any actual real news tonight?
Well, the world's on fire. That good enough for you? Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main headlines tonight. Punitive sanctions now entering their 10th week. In a statement from team headquarters a short time ago, Prime Minister Julia Salisbury issued a commanding response to this unprovoked escalation.
The World Council should make no mistake. This blockade and the illegal sanctions it seeks to enforce are an act of war and will be treated as such. Any incursion, however slight, into our territory will be met with swift and deadly force. You have been warned.
Ailing business. Wannabe beer magnate Johnny Handsleeves seems to have fallen on hard times as his brewery venture folds. It seems Johnny wasn't cut out for the brewing business, as poor sales forced him to close his doors. And if this exclusive image is anything to go by, he hasn't been handling it well. Pictured here on day 4 of his nationwide tour, where he's vowing to deck the doubters, the failed entrepreneur is making his way from pub to pub, thumping anyone who dares call his brew too hoppy. In it to win it, exciting news from Advance today with the announcement of a new monthly prize draw for all team membership card holders. Every month, lucky winners from across the country will be picked at random to receive what Team HQ are describing as unique prizes worth more than money used to be. Take-up on the scheme has been much higher than expected, and if this lucky winner's delighted face is anything to go by, it looks like pretty soon everyone's going to have one. Burning rubber. Sales of condoms have plummeted this month as sales of responsibility soar. Since becoming widely available earlier this year, the male contraceptive pill has become commonplace in the lives of many heterosexual couples, and as a result, many are turning their backs on more traditional prophylactics. The Global Health Watchdog has revealed that it's men who are increasingly saying no to the Love Club. The findings have prompted concerns about rises in sexually transmitted infections and a surge of insufferable conversations during one-night stands. Leaders shipping out. The trapped scientists undertaking a bold escape from Dante's taint have revealed which of their 2 erstwhile leaders will spearhead their journey to freedom. While throughout their careers it's been clear that Doctors Wong and Swartzborg and Horgensford have worked best together, it seems one of them is now going to be taking a back seat. Dr. Wong has always been the riskier of the pair, willing to push further and faster in the name of progress. We all remember his now infamous exploding chimp trial. Let's hope that getting the team home sooner doesn't mean they cut too many corners. Burning down the house? The Capitol was put on high alert last night after disrupt terrorists set an emblematic fire in the heart of Parliament Park. Violent conflict broke out at the demonstration after a mob of so-called protesters from the radical group launched an unprovoked attack on community cohesion officers in attendance. With the methods of this increasingly violent rabble becoming ever more extreme, many are asking if the military should intervene. Colonel Phineas Mad Badger Fortingley Davis of the 1st Mounted Bastards Brigade said his men were, and I quote, oiled up and ready for action. All this, and I'll be talking to some people with fascinating medical conditions, as well as one of the contenders in this year's Feline Football Championship, and her proud owner. That's all up on tonight's National Nightly News. But first tonight, our team of correspondents has been dispatched to every corner of the country to see how the people of this great nation of ours are coping with this unprecedented hot weather. First, let's go to Megan Wolfe in Shining-on-Sea to see what the scientific community has to say. Megan, how's the weather there?
It's absolutely glorious, Jeremy. Thank you for asking. I'm here with Dr. Anna Burns of the University of Princeford. Are you enjoying the weather as much as I am?
Oh, yes, it's wonderful, isn't it? My eyelids are sweating.
And you're part of a team carrying out a study into just what's causing this unbelievable heat, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, we want to be able to reassure the public once and for all that there's absolutely nothing to worry about and that they can enjoy their sunstroke and fossil fuels in peace.
You sound very confident about that.
Oh, very much so. I can say without any hesitation, there's really no cause for any concern here. I've actually left my car running.
So tell us about this experiment.
Well, we take data from weather stations from all over the world, along with atmospheric samples, and we take all that and we feed it into this state-of-the-art computer, and very soon we'll be getting a high-tech readout of the results.
Blimey, that sounds very fancy.
I should just say, none of this would be possible without the generous support of Remington's Fist. This is all thanks to their unrivaled investment in our future, and may I just say, complimentary personal anecdote. Oh, here we go. And, as expected, everything is absolutely fucked. Hang on. This can't be right.
Right, but obviously you said a second ago that everything is absolutely fine, so...
Well, actually, under concern level, it just says, why, God, why?
We should be celebrating these wonderful results, I think.
There we are. We need to evolve gills within 40 years.
You look thirsty.
Here it just says, shit.
Look at you. This is meant to be a celebration. Can't go around looking like that.
Shit.
There you go, much better. Can I just say thank you again to Sophia Remington for providing all of this.
Everyone, we don't have long. Time is running out.
It's running out. Absolutely right. That is all we have time for.
Abandon hope and return to the forest.
There you are. Enjoy that. I'd like to thank Dr. Burns for just one opinion on the climate.
The sea will reclaim us all.
There you have it, Jeremy. Proof, if proof be need be, that everything is just fine. I'm Megan Wolfe, here with science. Back to you.
Megan Wolfe there, attempting to do some actual news. Next, heads over to Robin Short, who's in Scritchford with some of the winners of this week's team membership lottery. Robin?
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm here in Scritchford with Gary Failsafe, a janitor at the local school, and Amelia Jackhammer, an aspiring poet. Both of you were drawn at random from those who hold team membership cards to receive this week's amazing prize. How do you feel?
Filled with fervent euphoria.
Yeah, good, yeah.
And all that we had to do was fill in a quick form or two.
Wow, that sounds so convenient. But we're all dying to know, what have you won?
That's right, Robin. I've won dinner with Julius Salisbury at one of the capital's top restaurants.
Ooh, swanky.
And I've been invited to Peter Clement's house to help him dredge the gutter in.
That's absolutely terrific. You must both be over the moon.
I've written a poem about it.
So, can you tell me about the moment when you first heard the news?
Well, I was battling against a particularly difficult floater, probably one of the sixth formers, when the headmaster came and found me.
I was involved in a similarly brutal conflict with a particularly arduous stanza.
So you were both polishing turds?
No, I don't like to polish them. I like to keep them intact for my collection.
Oh. How unexpected.
I don't polish turds. I write poetry.
Potato, potato. So, Gary...
Do you think Peter Clement's going to let me keep the contents of his downpipe?
There's no harm in asking, I suppose.
Would you like to hear one?
No, thank you. Gary, when you signed up for team membership, was it in hopes of winning the lottery, or were there other reasons?
I like a flutter, of course, but no, the boss said I had to sign up to keep coming into school.
Very sensible. It's important to know who we're trusting around our children.
Oh, I have an unpublished book of sonnets about children. Perhaps you'd like to hear one.
No!
Or an anthology of haikus on the death of innocence.
I'd rather hear about Gary's turd collection.
Really? I thought you might say that.
Oh. Oh.
Are you all right?
Yes, it's coming. It's inspiration and it's delicious.
Right you are.
Today on the show there's no news. Just a man who keeps multiple poos.
Here, this big one's my favourite. See how it's fibrous, really lovely texture.
Would you encourage other people to enter for their chance to win?
If it's colour you're looking for, take a gander at old Blue Eyes here.
The national news lost its way when it covered some crap on a tray.
Some of these are quite rare.
Maybe that was unfair.
And that's all we have time for today. Back to you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Robin. What a lucky pair they are. And finally in this segment, it's over to Patrick Bannon, who's gone to the smelliest town in the country to see how the unprecedented weather is affecting the locals. Patrick?
Hello there, Jeremy. Hello, yes. I'm here live in Grizzleford, which has recently voted the smelliest town in the country. And I have to say that, you know, in this heat, the smell really is. I mean, it's something else. Barry Lardons, mate, you've lived here your whole life. How'd you put up with the stink?
Well, we're just all very proud of our achievement, to be honest with you.
You can tell that, look at him, proud as punch.
Do you know what it's like, son, being the second smelliest town?
No, I don't.
Living in the shadow of Arseminster, those smug fucks. But who's laughing now, eh?
Tell you what, not me, that's for sure. So what happened, mate?
Right, the good people from Remington's Fist came in and saved the day with their factory.
You're talking, of course, about the newly built Flard factory.
Yeah, they gave us this big presentation on jobs and growth. But as soon as we heard about the stench, we paid them whatever they wanted to put it here.
Does the stink not affect your life in every way, Barry? I mean, perhaps if you're filling in a tax return or completing the physical act of love.
It's strong at first, but you get used to it after several weeks of your first bout of sickness. The judges were very impressed.
So, what's the sickness?
Oh, that's nothing to worry about. It takes a few minutes before you develop any symptoms. Now, folk are saying something about the production line and how they dump carcasses directly into the water main, but I think it's probably the few valves on the high street.
On the high street? Should I see a doctor? What are the symptoms?
Well, the first one is asking stupid questions. Then folk experience a loss of inhibition.
Fuck off, do they? When was the last time you brushed your teeth, you stinking old tramp?
Next recording is a period of randomly bursting into song, followed immediately by delusions of grandeur.
Oh, that's not really a problem. It was sung in my life. Hello, it's sexy Patrick Bannon, and he's wearing sexy shorts now. Oh my God, look at me. I'm like a stallion. I'm gorgeous. Why didn't you tell me? I should take my shirt off. You know what? I'll even let you touch me if you want.
That will be the bout of undeserved self-confidence.
Love the Bannon. Feel the Bannon. Oh, man, what's the point?
And the ennui. All that's left now are the hallucinations and unconsciousness.
Nana Dottie? Was that you? Why are you made out of elbows? You know I don't eat opinions.
Oh, don't worry, folks. Once he wakes up, he'll be just fine. We'll just find a place to stick him where it won't matter how many times he evacuates his bowels. Right, that's all here from Grizzleford, a town that's really making a stink. I'm Barry Lardons. Back to you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Barry. With a naval blockade being set up around our coastline as we speak, when we come back, I'll be talking to 3 members of the general public who appear to be here purely for medical reasons. Don't go away. Unless, of course, you've got something better to do. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back. Well, that was stupid.
This next section features a potentially controversial guest, and Barnes may request some censorship if he goes too
fucking degrees in here.
You've done a great job so far keeping everyone happy, so let's keep up the good work.
I've done something.
What do you mean? Jeremy?
My mic is still on.
Faster than a kid with a cold. It's on the floor. Yes, they're dropping every day. We've got crazy artificial paddling poles, ornamental paddling poles, big poles, little poles, anti-ground catching nets.
That's what I'm talking about? Cat football? We should be doing an interview with the War Minister, or a report from Grantham Downs. Even the weather would be more fucking relevant than this.
Jeremy, please, just breathe. It's just something light to keep people's minds off things.
Exactly, which is wrong. People's minds should be very much on things. Christ, it's so fucking hot.
Please take your seats as quickly as you can.
I can't do this anymore, Jenny. I've had enough. That's it. This is just
10 seconds. Get over yourself, Jeremy. Why don't you stop feeling sorry for yourself for 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News with me, your host, Jeremy Donaldson. Later, we'll be talking to the captain of the territory's first cat football team, Professor Pumpkin. But first, I'm joined by 3 guests with some balmy bodily behaviours. Joining me is a woman who's been hiccuping for over 9 months. Isn't that right, Miss Piercy?
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Tell us, what brought all this on?
Well, it's all a bit of a blur, Jeremy, to be totally frank with you. See, I was watching your show and I remember seeing the news about the election, and it hasn't stopped since.
Fascinating stuff. Also here is Frankie Steampipe. Perhaps you could explain to us exactly what your physiological foible is.
I'm here to say it's high time people like me were respected. We're constantly overlooked in the workplace, we're whispered about on buses, and we're asked politely to leave children's birthday parties. And it's disgusting. I'm sorry, my bowels have comic timing.
And finally, I'm joined by a man who answers every question honestly, even when it isn't aimed at him. How do you cope with that, Mr. Truman?
With a combination of booze, self-hatred, and hardcore pornography.
Is that right?
Not according to my therapist.
Well, in that case, let's speak to Rose. Tell me, how does the hiccuping impact you?
I get shushed a lot, which is hard. At work, they've asked me to stop answering the phones. It's really affected my confidence.
Well, I find it really fucking irritating.
Do people tend to believe your story?
Fuck no.
Actually, I've been surprised at how much support I've received.
And Frankie, why have you come here today?
Because my wife left me, and I was hoping that the fame would win her back.
We've started a group for people with ailments deemed broadly comical by society. It's called Take Us Seriously.
That's right. And we bloody well mean it.
And who's joined so far?
A bunch of fucking losers.
It's just us so far.
And how much success have you had?
Well, we've seen some real positive changes.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's been a runaway success.
Shit all. Not a single person come to our fun run, and all of our leaflets fell in the canal.
Huh. Well, Miss Piercy, some people are saying your condition was actually caused by the shocking events of that night. What do you think?
Come down, Mr. Donaldson, that's absolute rubbish.
What it'd be like to have a pair of tits.
Could you? I'm sorry, it's very hot. What was I thinking?
That you're a team fuck puppet?
No.
Or a sellout cunt?
Apologies. Just a reminder that he can't help it. And hey, if this isn't live television, then what is it?
Fuckfest of propaganda masquerading as journalism.
Right, Frankie, Rose, tell us, how can the viewers get involved with your cause?
Yes, we're holding a sponsored run in Capital Park next weekend. It's called the No Smiles 13 Miles.
No, it's called the No Laugh Half. What did I say before the show?
That it was the team pulling Jeremy Donaldson's strings.
No, I didn't say-
Oh, wow,
didn't say
we
that.
may have to end that there, unfortunately. What a harmless bit of fun.
Steady on! This is exactly what I'm talking about. We demand respect.
Yes, well, later, I'll be talking to Professor Pumpkin, a ginger tabby with a world-class pair of penalty paws. Is that really necessary?
No, it isn't. Let go. Not you.
Unhand him at once!
Enough! That's enough! Enough!
What are you doing?
Trying not to piss myself.
Alex, cut.
Don't you dare! Don't you fucking dare cut to the ads before I tell you to. Now, you in the broadcast centre, Bozeman's little scapegoat, you listen to me. You cut to the ads before I tell you to, and I will kill every single person in this studio. I am thinking about what I'm doing. I've been thinking about it for a long time. We all should be. Christ, it's so fucking hot in here. Do you remember when we used to do the real news? Before it was all lottery winners and bloody cat football? We are on the brinks of a siege the likes of which the world hasn't seen in hundreds of years. The enemy is at the gates, and I'm stuck here talking to these three fucking idiots.
I think my hiccups have stopped.
You three, get the fuck out of my studio. Go on, now, go, before I change my mind. Jenny, lock the doors. Lock the doors.
Yes, Jeremy.
Now. Good. Yes. Now. Right. You in the broadcast centre. Alex, you listen to me. You pay attention. Now, I'm sure you've already loaded up exactly what you're going to play in the commercial, but today is going to be a little bit different. Look to your right. Yes, really. Look to your right. There is a VHS tape, and I want you to load it into one of the machines, and when I say so, and not before, you play it. You've got about 15 seconds, so I wouldn't waste any time. Now, all cameras.
Alex, I assume you won't be playing that tape. This station does not negotiate with terrorists. I hope I've made myself clear. You seem to know what to do.
Every single thing that comes out of this studio is either one-sided, or by now, we're going to show the other side for a bit of fucking balance, like the good old days. Alex, play the fucking tape. Now, I don't want to hurt any of you. If I see anything I don't like, I will not hesitate to start by killing this man. Now, reset the system for the third segment.
Oh, Alex, you're going to get me in trouble with that. Let's hope you made the right call.
Heard them lie about us on the news. We are the resistance. We are disrupt, and we're going to tell you the truth. Advance aided by the mass media are lying to you. The elderly are not a burden. The rich were not all crazy. And the team membership card is an ID card, no matter how tempting the prizes are. But who am I to tell you this? A voice from the shadows trying to tell you that everything you know is wrong. Why would you trust a man too scared to show his own face?
Don't switch on. Please, don't switch off. My name is Alan James, and I think that certain rights are worth fighting for. The right to keep the rewards of our own hard work. The right to be kept alive in our dotage. And the right to question our government without worrying what our children will report to their fellow go-getters. I love this country. It may be what I am, and I'll fight for it. In fact, I'll die for it, if I have to. But I can't do it alone. Disrupt a growing movement.
How long?
But we need your help.
Please.
Your
How
support,
long?
please. Look for
17
us.
seconds.
Find us.
And the studio
If you
doors are all
also
still
know in
locked?
your heart that there is something deeply wrong in this country, join
what now?
us. Resist.
I don't know.
Disrupt.
This wasn't what I planned. I mean, some of it was. I had speech, look. But this was unexpected. This was unexpected.
So what now, Jeremy? So what now, Jeremy?
It was supposed to be your day off.
God, please, don't do any more stupid things today.
How long? How long, Jenny?
You're already live.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Joining me, unexpectedly, for what I very much imagine will be my last broadcast, are two new guests. Jenny works here at the National Nightly News and is someone I consider, well, a friend. And next to her is... What's your name?
Andy.
Andy's a policeman. Only we don't call him that anymore. He's a community cohesion official.
Officer.
Sorry?
It's Community Cohesion Officer, CCO.
And how's that feel, Andy? Being rebranded?
It's good. it's not about confrontation anymore. You know, the force had its fair share of problems. The team doesn't have as many.
But it still has some.
I couldn't say.
Couldn't or wouldn't?
I don't know what you want me to say.
Christ, you're fucking useless, aren't you? We'll come back to you later. Jenny?
Don't want to be on the news, Jeremy.
That's perfectly understandable. Who'd want to do this? Jenny, why did you join the National Nightly News team?
I always wanted to work in news.
Yes, but why specifically this program? The National Nightly News.
It was the news everyone trusted.
Was?
Is. Do you really want to quibble semantics at gunpoint?
Is there something else you'd rather discuss?
Well, there is the great big Alan James-sized elephant in the room you seem to be ignoring.
What do you mean?
I saw your face when that thing came down. You didn't know, did you?
It's about the message, not the messenger.
Like I said, you didn't know.
No. I didn't know. The people I met were with... He wasn't there.
God,
I didn't know it was Alan James.
I'm sorry. But seriously, Alan fucking James. You're flushing your life down the toilet for... God, I love you, Jeremy, but...
He's a good speaker. He's popular in the country.
That right?
Look, forget Alan James. There is still something deeply wrong. And you know it, Jenny. And you know it, Andy. And you at home, you know it too. Meanwhile, I'm interviewing a guest who stinks of shit. Patrick is paddling about in shit. And Robin is literally interviewing someone who collects the fucking stuff. I mean, it's not sophisticated, but what a metaphor. We are sleepwalking our way into oppression, and the news isn't saying anything. We're not saying anything.
Says who? Alan fucking James.
What are all those scientists working on at Grentham Downs? What are they testing underground at Altergrave? Andy, your turn. Make yourself fucking useful. How many people have you brought in for consultations just because they weren't carrying or didn't have team membership cards?
Oh, well, there's other forms of identification that we will accept.
For how long?
We're just here to help.
Then why do you need these? Not really help when it's offered at gunpoint, is it, Andy? Let me demonstrate it for you. Let me help you. You eat these cards with my notes on it, and you'll probably digest a fact. That'd be helpful, wouldn't it, Andy? Knowing a fact?
What? I don't understand.
Do you want my help,
Yes,
Andy?
yes, whatever you say, yes.
Security are here, Jeremy.
Eat it.
What?
Eat the fucking news, Andy, or I'll force it down your fucking throat.
Jeremy, stop.
Go on.
Really?
Eat it. Eat it, you fucking bully.
Jeremy, stop. They will kill you. Please, don't make me watch that.
Of course. You're right. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. You can put the card down now, Andy. You can go now. You too, Jenny. Fuck off over there. We're nearly done. All cameras on me. This new regime of ours is so seductive. I understand that. But before we all hand off our freedoms, should we ask to whom we're handing them over? Don't you want to know what's being done in your name? How many people were transitioned last month? A record high. Again, if you care. Shouldn't someone ask Advance how they plan to deal with this blockade? How many years or months of supplies we have? Why aren't we asking these questions instead of, whose shit is this? There's a cat backstage dressed as a fucking goalie, for Christ's sake. He's even got the little gloves. Anyway, that's why I arranged for you all to see that broadcast in the last break. I didn't know it was going to be him, but I guess that just about sums it up. We are all up Ship Creek with a paddle made of Alan fucking James. Christ, it's all so fucking pointless. I was going to quit tonight. Take a holiday. Try something else. Out of the limelight. Maybe try having a relationship. I hear they're nice. Never tried it. I loved the news. And now, well...
God, Jeremy, don't!
I've tried my best to be honest with you, but this just isn't the news anymore. And I'm sorry.
Ads.
I've lost this fight.
Alex, think of the consequences.
I'll let you down.
Please, we can't show this. Cut to the ads.
My name's Jane
Now!
Donaldson.
Do it now!
If you can. Somehow. And I envy you if you can. Have a peaceful night.
Jeremy!
You're going to get me in trouble with that. Let's hope you made the right call.
You've seen our symbols on your walls. You've heard them lie about us on the news. We are the resistance. We are disrupt, and we're going to tell you the truth. Advance, aided by the mass media, are lying to you. The elderly are not a burden. The rich were not all crazy. And the team membership card is an ID card, no matter how tempting the prizes are. But who am I to tell you this? A voice from the shadows trying to tell you that everything you know is wrong. Why would you trust a man too scared to show his own face?
Don't switch off. Please, don't switch off. My name is Alan James, and I think that certain rights are worth fighting for. The right to keep the rewards of our own hard work. The right to be kept alive in our dotage. And the right to question our government without worrying what our children will report to their fellow go-getters. I love this country. It may be what I am, and I'll fight for it. In fact, I'll die for it, if I have to. But I can't do it alone. Disrupt a growing movement.
How long?
But we need your help.
Jeremy, please.
How long?
Look for
17
us.
seconds.
Find us.
And the studio
You
doors are all
also
still
know in your
locked?
heart that there is something
Yes.
deeply wrong in this country.
So what now?
Resist.
I don't know.
Disrupt.
This wasn't what I planned. I mean, some of it was. I had a speech, look. But this was unexpected.
So what now, Jeremy?
It was supposed to be your day off. It was supposed to be your day off.
Please, don't do any more stupid things today.
How long? How long, Jenny?
You already lie.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Joining me, unexpectedly, for I very much imagine will be my last broadcast, are two new guests. Jenny works here at the National Nightly News and is someone I consider, well, a friend. And next to her is, what's your name?
Andy.
Andy's a policeman. Only we don't call him that anymore. He's a community cohesion official.
Officer.
Sorry?
It's community cohesion officer, CCO.
And how's that feel, Andy? Being rebranded?
It's good. it's not about confrontation anymore. You know, the force had its fair share of problems. The team doesn't have as many.
But it still has some.
I couldn't say.
Couldn't or wouldn't?
I don't know what you want me to say.
Christ, you're fucking useless, aren't you? We'll come back to you later. Jenny?
I don't want to be on the news, Jeremy.
That's perfectly understandable. You'd want to do this. Jenny, why did you join the National Nightly News team?
I always wanted to work in news.
Yes, but why specifically this program? The National Nightly News.
It was the news everyone trusted.
Was?
Is. Do you really want to quibble semantics at gunpoint?
Is there something else you'd rather discuss?
Well, there is a great big Alan James-sized elephant in the room you seem to be ignoring.
What do you mean?
I saw your face when that hood came down. You didn't know, did you?
It's about the message, not the messenger.
Like I said, you didn't know.
No. I didn't know. The people I met were with... He wasn't there.
God,
I didn't know it was Alan James.
I'm sorry. But seriously, Alan fucking James. You're flushing your life down the toilet for... God, I love you, Jeremy, but...
He's a good speaker. He's popular in the country.
That right?
Look, forget Alan James. There is still something deeply wrong. And you know it, Jenny. And you know it, Andy. And you at home, you know it too. Meanwhile, I'm interviewing a guest who stinks of shit. Patrick is paddling about in shit. And Robin is literally interviewing someone who collects the fucking stuff. I mean, it's not sophisticated, but what a metaphor. We are sleepwalking our way into oppression, and the news isn't saying anything. We're not saying anything.
Says who? Alan fucking James.
What are all those scientists working on at Grantham Downs? What are they testing underground at Altergrave? Andy, your turn. Make yourself fucking useful. How many people have you brought in for consultations just because they weren't carrying or didn't have team membership cards?
Oh, well, there's other forms of identification that we will accept.
For how long?
We're just here to help.
Then why do you need these? Not really help when it's offered at gunpoint, is it, Andy? Let me demonstrate it for you. Let me help you. You eat these cards with my notes on it, and you'll probably digest a fact. That'd be helpful, wouldn't it, Andy? Knowing a fact?
What? I don't understand.
Do you want my help,
Yes,
Andy?
yes, whatever you say, yes.
Security are here, Jeremy.
Eat it.
What?
Eat the fucking news, Andy, or I'll force it down your fucking throat.
Jeremy, stop.
Go on.
Really?
Eat it. Eat it, you fucking bully.
Jeremy, stop. They will kill you. Please, don't make me watch that.
Of course. You're right. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. You can put the card down now, Andy. You can go now. You too, Jenny. Fuck off over there. They're nearly done. All cameras on me. This new regime of ours is so seductive. I understand that. But before we all hand off our freedoms, shouldn't we ask to whom we're handing them over? Don't you want to know what's being done in your name? How many people were transitioned last month? A record high. Again, if you care. Shouldn't someone ask Advance how they plan to deal with this blockade? How many years or months of supplies we have? Why aren't we asking these questions instead of, whose shit is this? There's a cat backstage dressed as a fucking goalie, for Christ's sake. He's even got the little gloves. Anyway, that's why I arranged for you to see that broadcast in the last break. I didn't know it was going to be him, but I guess that just about sums it up. We are all up Ship Creek with a paddle made of Alan fucking James. Christ, it's all so fucking pointless. I was going to quit tonight. Take a holiday. Try something else. Out of the limelight. Maybe try having a relationship. I hear they're nice. Never tried it. I loved the news. And now, well...
God, Jeremy, don't!
I've tried my best to be honest with you, but this just isn't the news anymore. And I'm sorry. I've lost this fight.
Alex, think of the consequences.
I've let you down.
Please, we can't show
All
this.
of
Cut
you.
to the ads.
My name's Jerry
Now!
Donaldson.
Do it now!
If you can, somehow. And I envy you.
Bozeman here. Hope all's well with the family. Just a heads up, we're expecting those troublemakers at Disrupt to attempt to hack the channel during the broadcast, so keep an eye on the interference screen and stay out of the orange. Let's keep the news on the air. It's important, now more than ever.
Julia's team have asked me to ask you to keep it light.
What does that mean?
It means to do that thing you do where you turn politicians into humans. Just don't get drawn into talking about the war or politics in general. Really.
They do know this is the news, don't they?
You won't hear this from me,
It's over
but
to Patrick Bannon for all the day's sports board highlights, including all the tabletop action.
apparently there's a crew at Team HQ right now. I think she's giving a speech or something tonight. They'll get it on the late news.
Oh, great. So they get the brains and we get the performing monkey.
Followed at 9:25 by our unsettling play,
Sometimes you sound just like him, you know.
which tells the cautionary tale
How
of
are
one
you?
brave young lady's battles to survive the cruel administrations of our neighbours.
It
At
is what it is.
11:25, it's incisors.
It
And
is what it
tonight, Dr. Adrian Atkinson Blimey
I'm
will be
listening
getting
to
his
you now.
teeth into Fiona from Hamble Bamble, who is in
10 seconds, everybody.
on the Humble Business. And that takes it.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening. This is the National Nightly News. I'm Megan Wolfe. It's the 140th day of war. Our main headlines tonight. Company of heroes. Skirmishes on land and sea again today as our armed forces tested the mettle of the World Council's illegal blockade. Advance's strategy of multiple small-scale incursions into the disputed zone is certainly keeping the enemy on high alert, unable to work out where or when the next strike will come. Proud parents throughout the territory find themselves ever more impressed by the bravery and commitment of their incredible children and the job they're doing keeping supply lines open against all possible odds. Don't starve. Advance's food programme moved from strength to strength today as rationing depots were opened in the last remaining unfed areas of the territory. The rationing depots have been constructed in record time, and the government's agricultural coordination strategy has seen shelves restocked with increasing regularity. And judging by the looks on this happy family's faces, it can't come a moment too soon. They'll be getting a good meal tonight on the government, just like the rest of us. 7 days to die. The recent decision to allow those with long-term health conditions to access transition centres has today been declared an overwhelming success. Previously available only to those in their final years, the expansion of the service has been met with relief by the many organisations calling for it to be opened up to the wider community. With dwindling medical supplies leaving many of our most vulnerable facing chronic pain, it can come as no surprise that the transition centres have found themselves stretched to capacity. Populace. More than 11% of the population have thus far failed to register for a team membership card, a worrying statistic given that the cards are a legal requirement from midnight tonight. While applications are still open for those who like to run fashionably late, they can expect a few tricky questions from Advance. Sympathy for the Devils? A poorly attended protest was held today by struggling self-styled resistance movement Disrupt. Support for the organisation has been falling after this and other news outlets showed the public their true colours. Disrupt spokesman Alan James said the demonstration was to remind people that, although they may have been less vocal in recent weeks, they remain the only real resistance to Advance. And finally tonight, our mutual friend. Bail was denied in the High Court today for shamed former National Nightly News anchor Jeremy Donaldson. The presenter will be transferred to new lodgings at Penton Ridge Prison, while the lengthy preparations for his trial, which is still 18 months away, begin. Since being taken into custody 10 weeks ago in this very studio, little has been heard from our former colleague. Despite how things ended, we wish him the best, and we'll be sure to bring you all the details of that court case every night. But first tonight, with the war about to enter its 21st week, I'll be chatting with Peter Clement live in an exclusive team talk from his home in Lanfordshire. Don't go away. You won't want to miss a second of tonight's National Nightly News. programme, I'm thrilled to say I'll be chatting with mega pop star Lil C, who's going to be treating us to a world premiere of her new single. And then after that, in part 3, we've got something new I promise you won't want to miss. But first tonight, let's check in with Prime Minister Peter Clement, who's coming to us through the magic of television all the way from his home in Lanfordshire. Are you receiving me, Prime Minister?
Loud and clear, Miss Wolf. Loud and clear.
Well, let's start with the obvious. What's that in your hand, Prime Minister?
Cheeky cow. But yeah, it's true. 75 days without an alcoholic drink, and I've got to say, I'm beginning to feel the benefits.
It certainly looks that way.
Well, I made a promise to Mrs. C, and as my old man used to say...
A promise is worth keeping?
จบอันนี้กันเดี๋ยวเบรกกันเลิกกันอินเอเนอร์จีมากเลยเหมือนเล่นดูมเลยซ้ายขวาต้องดู
Good evening, Alex. It's Bozeman here. Hope all's well with the family. Just a heads up, we're expecting those troublemakers at Disrupt to attempt to hack the channel during the broadcast, so keep an eye on the interference screen and stay out of the orange. Let's keep the news on the air. It's important, now more than ever.
So, Julia's team have asked me to ask you to keep it light.
What does that mean?
It means do that thing you do where you turn politicians into humans. Just don't get drawn into talking about the war or politics in general, really.
They do know this is the news, don't they?
You didn't hear this from me, but...
Oh.
Apparently, there's a crew at Team HQ right now. I think she's giving a speech or something tonight. They'll get it on the late news.
Oh, great. So they get the brains and we get the performing monkey.
Sometimes you sound just like him, you know.
How are you?
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I miss him too, you know.
10 seconds, everybody.
Rumpled old sod.
Don't.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening. This is the National Nightly News. I'm Megan Wolfe. It's the 140th day of war. Our main headlines tonight. Company of heroes. Skirmishes on land and sea again today as our armed forces tested the mettle of the World Council's illegal blockade. Advance's strategy of multiple small-scale incursions into the disputed zone is certainly keeping the enemy on high alert, unable to work out where or when the next strike will come. Proud parents throughout the territory find themselves ever more impressed by the bravery and commitment of their incredible children and the job they're doing keeping supply lines open against all possible odds. Don't starve. Advance's food programme moved from strength to strength today as rationing depots were opened in the last remaining unfed areas of the territory. The rationing depots have been constructed in record time, and the government's agricultural coordination strategy has seen shelves restocked with increasing regularity. And judging by the looks on this happy family's faces, it can't come a moment too soon. They'll be getting a good meal tonight on the government, just like the rest of us. 7 days to die. The recent decision to allow those with long-term health conditions to access transition centres has today been declared an overwhelming success. Previously available only to those in their final years, the expansion of the service has been met with relief by the many organisations calling for it to be opened up to the wider community. With dwindling medical supplies leaving many of our most vulnerable facing chronic pain, it can come as no surprise that the transition centres have found themselves stretched to capacity. Populace. More than 11% of the population have thus far failed to register for a team membership card, a worrying statistic given that the cards are a legal requirement from midnight tonight. While applications are still open for those who like to run fashionably late, they can expect a few tricky questions from Advance. Sympathy for the Devils? A poorly attended protest was held today by struggling self-styled resistance movement Disrupt. Support for the organisation has been falling after this and other news outlets showed the public their true colours. Disrupt spokesman Alan James said the demonstration was to remind people that, although they may have been less vocal in recent weeks, they remain the only real resistance to Advance. And finally tonight, our mutual friend. Bail was denied in the High Court today for shamed former National Nightly News anchor Jeremy Donaldson. The presenter will be transferred to new lodgings at Penton Ridge Prison, while the lengthy preparations for his trial, which is still 18 months away, begin. Following his very public breakdown on this programme 10 weeks ago, the once loved presenter was disarmed and taken into custody by the Community Cohesion Team. Let's hope doctors can help the once great man. But first tonight, with the war about to enter its 21st week, I'll be chatting with Peter Clement live in an exclusive team talk from his home in Lanfordshire. Don't go away, you won't want to miss a second of tonight's National Nightly News. Later in the programme, I'm thrilled to say I'll be chatting with mega pop star Lil C, who's going to be treating us to a world premiere of her new single. And then after that, in part 3, we've got something new I promise you won't want to miss. But first tonight, let's check in with Prime Minister Peter Clement, who's coming to us through the magic of television all the way from his home in Lanfordshire. Are you receiving me, Prime Minister?
Loud and clear, Miss Wolfe. Loud and clear.
Well, let's start with the obvious. What's that in your hand, Prime Minister?
Cheeky cow. But yeah, it's true. 75 days without an alcoholic drink, and I've got to say, I'm beginning to feel the benefits.
It certainly looks that way.
Well, I made a promise to Mrs. C, and as my old man used to say...
a promise is worth keeping?
But something like that, only with assholes.
So, I've heard from my sources that you and the illustrious Mrs. C plan to take your winter break somewhere a little different this year.
That's right. We're planning a walking holiday right here in the territories, which is different for us because, like you, Megan, I've always been a big fan of those warm foreign beaches.
Did you make this decision because of the blockade, Prime Minister?
Well, no, that's a good question. Well, as you know, while the blockade has effectively restricted the flow of goods into the country, we and our neighbours have continued to allow unimpeded travel for business leaders, ministers and such. So, although me and the missus could theoretically go to that gorgeous beach I just mentioned, it just doesn't smell much like team spirit to me. After all, as my old man used to say, when life gives you shite, make shite pie.
It works just as well with lemons and lemonade.
I suppose it does.
Prime Minister, maintaining a healthy body like yours at a time of national crisis must require some demanding planning. What's your regime and how do you go about it all?
Well, the truth be told, it's all down to Claude, my infinitely patient personal trainer. He's a man with a plan. I'm just the prat with the fat.
Well, on that very subject, how are you and Mrs. C handling living on rations?
Well, let me tell you, Megan, back in the 50s, when I worked for you backstage for your Patrick Brannan's dad, did you know I did that?
I think everyone knows that, Prime Minister.
Well, what you probably didn't know was that Graham Bannon was a right tightwad, paid the bare bloody minimum and still found every possible excuse he could to dock your pay even further. I remember he once docked me a whole £5 for having an unacceptably smelly lunchbox type bastard. Anyway, what I'm saying is back then I ate a lot less than I am now, even under rationing. We all did. And let's face it, there are still plenty of people in this country who could afford to lose a little bit of weight.
What are you implying? No, but seriously, Prime Minister, we know you're very busy, but one final question, if I may.
Oh, well, go on then.
When you get home from a long day, your head full of the territory's hopes and fears, what music do you listen to when you work out to take your mind off things?
Well, I know I've got a bit of a reputation for being an old fuddy-duddy, but I'd be lying if I didn't say there's something about Lil C that just demands one's attention.
Well, let's hope you stay watching, Prime Minister, because she is going to be talking and performing live after the break.
Oh, I'll be watching. After all, as my old man used to say, everything's a treat on a boring Friday with nothing but the wind up your shunt.
It's Wednesday, Prime Minister.
I think the expression still stands.
Peter Clement, thank you for joining me. I don't know about you at home, but I think there's something kind of inspirational there. I know I feel safer. When we come back, Lil C is going to be giving us the debut performance of her new single, and I'll be getting to meet her. As her biggest fan, I don't mind telling you I'm pretty excited. Don't go away. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back. Gripping stuff.
Was that even news?
I think you forgot to ask him what his favourite number is.
Oh, I must have forgotten that in all the excitement.
So assuming it's not vodka, what do you think's actually in that milk? I reckon it's the tears of his enemies.
You are one disturbed individual.
That's how I cope.
A+แต่หลังจากนี้จะ A+ ได้หรือเปล่าหลอกคนแบบเด็ก
You'll no doubt have spotted the updated mixing disc. You'll need the new buttons during the next sections. First, we'll need applause when the guest enters and before her song. Don't worry, I'll walk you through it when we get there.
แต่ไม่มีปัญหาเรื่องไฟเลยสายกาวมีให้แล้วด้วย
We cannot fail to thrive, even in this most challenging of times.
เก่งจริงๆเรื่องอย่างนี้เหมือนประเทศไหนสักประเทศ
I've never heard of her before.
Oh, she's big, really big.
Really? Is she any good?
Nah, of course not. She's dog shit. But kids go mad for her, absolutely mad.
Live in 10 seconds.
Hang on, Colin, you've got kids.
Yeah, I've got about 6 or 7, I think.
What?
5, 4, 3.
Thanks for coming back. Later, we have an exciting new feature that we just know you're going to love, so stay tuned for that. But first, I'm really excited for our next guest. She rose to prominence as the delightful Susie May in All My Daughter's Children's Men, before taking the music industry by storm this year with her debut album smashing the chart records at the age of just 20. Let's give it up and welcome Lil C!
Excellent work.
May I just say, you look incredible.
Oh, thanks, babe. I'm doing this new regime and it really does work.
Ooh, what's the regime?
And my manager suggested it to me. It basically involves bathing in like cabbage water and then having the leaves sucked out of you while you sleep.
Wow, is that healthy?
Oh, well, look at me, Meg. The leaves are my only nourishment.
Yep, they certainly are. Now, you'll have to forgive me, but I'm somewhat of a super fan, so I'm sorry if I get a bit starstruck.
Oh, bless you. I've never actually heard of you before, so if you do get a little tongue-tied, I can always carry the interview.
Oh, that's good to know. So your first album, F My Face Together, it hit shelves this summer and it just exploded. I mean, what was that like for you?
Bonkers, just so weird. I was in all the papers and the magazines. Overnight, I went from that like annoying little girl from that show to that like sexy little girl from that show.
Wow, that must have been bizarre.
Not really, it was just like any other morning. You know, get up at 5, go on a 4-mile run, have 3 meetings on my cabbage bath, but then only then was my dad actually talking to me.
Oh, of course. I mean, the famed country singer, Billy Bob Jean Short. I didn't know you'd been estranged.
There's nothing that strange about it, Megan. Okay, yes, he may believe that aliens told him to hate women, but there really isn't anything to prove that he's wrong.
Uh-huh. So, this newfound explosion into your popularity, I mean, did that change your life?
Well, I had to start wearing like nicer underwear, you know, for the paparazzi, but as my manager says, best to make the most of it before I'm 30.
Is that right? So, what's the album about?
So I thought it was about like how pretty and great I am, but actually it's about monetizing youth, I think, or about like promoting an unrealistic standard of beauty or something.
Your manager again.
Yeah, he says insecurity is an opportunity.
Oh, do you think he'd be happy with you telling us all this?
Telling you all what? It really doesn't matter what I say here. I'll do my dancing and then this part will all be forgotten about.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, we're going to see some of those famous dance moves very shortly because you're going to be performing your new single, aren't you?
Yeah, it's from my album Put It In My A Together, and it's out in my A Together.
My friend let her 13-year-old son join the Go-Getters. He's occupied now. Busy, even. His room's never been tidier. but he keeps notebooks he won't let her read. And sometimes she catches him staring at her. And last week, she found him searching through her papers. When confronted, he always had a plausible answer, a good answer. But somehow it's too good. Like it's been prepared in advance. Or possibly by them. We want to know what the news will no longer tell us. And when we find out, we will tell you. We will hack into your news broadcasts. We will defend your right to information.
Yeah, I do think that sometimes. Most nights, between like my fourth vodka and the 8th time a stranger slaps me around the arse, I think things could have been different, like better. But I don't know. I love doing autographs and having somebody dress me and tell me what to wear.
Did you always want to do music?
Well, ever since I was a little girl, I'd sit in front of the radio, and as soon as my favourite girl group would come on, I'd press record on my cassette. But then my dad would come in and tell me to turn it off and to go back upstairs and start practising again.
Oh, sorry, is your dad your manager?
Yeah, which can be tough. And sometimes when it gets really hard, he'll say, "Make Quagler proud and you might just survive childbirth."
Well, you know what, despite anything, you'll make me proud.
Oh, if only your opinion was as valuable as his.
And on that problematic note, you're going to be singing your song for us soon, aren't you? Tell me about it,
So it's called These Babies Gonna Bring You Home, and I actually got sent the lyrics in the car on the way up here. But you know what, it's actually all right. And don't worry, all my work is team approved.
All right then, well, you can go and get ready for that. We'll see you in a little bit. It was a very specific type of pleasure to chat to her, and I just can't wait to hear this. Oh, so here is Lil C with an exclusive first performance of her new track, These Babies Gonna Bring You Home. Take it away.
It's the Force's favorite, the queen of teams, here to break in your blockades, Lil C.
Oh baby, can't you see I'm hungry? There's a place in me that's empty. I want that meat you're packing, only you can fill that crack in me. I'm under siege, so come and free me. Ain't no disruption here, boy, I got no agenda. Just want the team and me, nobody foreign member. Don't stop no morning drill, there's holes in me that ain't been filled yet. I only scream this loud when you do your country proud. I ain't no baker's daughter, common Spanish on my border. Quick before I get much older, tie me down and hold me like an enemy soldier. An enemy soldier. So let them try and break our dream. We fight and love and diet. So wanna be at Clemens boys can come and use me as a toy. I wanna see some action. So come and break my sanctions. I've been this wild and free since my mom burdened me. She was only 53, but gave to save her family. But there's no one judging me if I'm the one that's in your fantasy. Don't die alone, these babies gonna bring you home. I ain't no vicar's daughter, common Spanish on my border. Quick before I get much older, tie me down and hold me like an enemy soldier. An enemy soldier. So wanna be the Clemens boys can come and use me as a toy and flip me over, grab my hair, rip off my clothes and down from there. I wanna see some action, so come and break my sanctions.
that doesn't distract you from the world outside, I don't know what will. I'd like to thank Lil C for doing that. Don't go anywhere. After the break, we'll finally be revealing the new segment of our show that we just know you're going to love. We'll be back right after this.
And we're out.
Can I just say, thank you so much for letting me do this. It really means a lot to me, you know.
Yeah.
To be able to promote myself on such a mainstream platform like the news.
Well, don't worry about it. And you know what? Good luck for the future. Take care of yourself. This industry can be crazy sometimes. Watch out for that father of yours, won't you?
Oh, no. I manage myself. It's just, you know, for the public to have that certain perspective on me. You know what it's like.
Oh, right.
And Michael? Michael?
What about Billy Bob Jean Short?
Oh, my dad. He's such a sweetheart. We both had the same agents, you know, like it just made sense. Both of us for our image together.
Wow.
And Michael, I want to see the revenue share for the clothing line and get me a G&T before my meeting with the lube guys. If they say for your pleasure, I'm going to start needing it.
And you'd be right. We've had our biggest and
This next section will need you to use all 4 of the sound effects to help things along. Try and pick the most appropriate one at each given moment. The actors can't hear what you're doing, so they'll be trusting you to make the right choices.
Well, the fact is, Jen, there's enough flowers in my dressing room.
There were exactly 12, as it said in your rider.
Do I look like the sort of person who counts things? No, not anymore. I'm better than that now. I'll tell you what, just keep adding flowers until it feels like 12. Got it?
Absolutely, right away. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3.
Thanks for joining us for part 3. We've been teasing you about our new feature all night, and now the wait is finally over. I can reveal that every night on the show, we'll be treated to an episode of an informative and hilarious new segment called The Notice Board. It stars some top talent and we're very excited about it. But before we see it, let's have a quick chat with the writer, director and phenomenon, may I say, Jeff Algebra, guys.
Actually, I've dropped the algebra. I go by Jeff DePlume now. How'd you like that?
Well, yeah, very fancy. I suppose you need a new name now that you're a successful artiste.
Well, exactly. I'm earning enough to pay taxes now.
Oh.
It's shit.
And how does Angela feel about all this?
Who?
Your wife.
Ah! Oh, God, no. No. No, she's long gone. No, she was holding me back. I'm with Norm now. We were married last month.
Norm de Plume.
Yeah.
And why did you write this? What was your inspiration?
Oh, well, I received a telephone call offering me 25 grand to write a pro-team sitcom. And I heard my father's voice. It said, Jeff, you listen here, boy. You make hay while the sun shines. You wring every penny you can get out of this. So I wheeled him down to the transition centre, got out my typewriter and started clacking.
Wow.
Utter shite.
And without further ado, let's give it up for the notice board.
You have to play a sound effect, Alex. Alex, if you kick this up, you'll ruin the notice board, and the actors won't be happy.
Good morning, Miss Craven.
Oh, morning, Ray.
Everything all right, Mrs. Craven? You look as worried as the vicar in closing time.
Oh, Ray, it's those young louts. They've vandalised my shop again.
No!
Yes! They've written all sorts of obscene language and crude pictures, and I know it's those damn youths.
I don't know. It could be the vicar at closing time.
Oh,
I'm just worried they won't ever become productive members of the community. What if they never see the error of their ways and end up as social outcasts, such as shoplifters or bong rats?
Don't worry, Mrs. Craven. This is a very supportive community, and I'm sure that in time they will fit into this society like this key into this lock. See? Works like a charm.
What a lovely way to put it, Ray. And just like that, we can unlock their future.
Yes, yes. Wow! Look at all the letters in my collection today.
Oh! I think that one's addressed to me.
What? This one? Oh, so you're right. Here it is.
It's a letter from my granddaughter, Brenda. She says she got an A on her maths exam because one of her friends has been helping her. She was always a team player, was our Brenda.
What's up, losers?
Oh, no. It's Brad. He's the coolest guy in the village.
That's right. I just got here on my motorbike.
Oh, clear off, Brad. We don't want any of your ilk around here.
What? Rad dudes?
No, ruffians. Have you come to tag the notice board with your gang signs?
No way. I've actually come to pin my resume on that notice board. I'm looking to do some tutoring after school.
What did you say? Tutoring?
That's right. Maths is very important. Would you mind, Ray?
Not at all.
So you, a young person, have been spending your time helping others and not just urinating on churches or huffing glue?
Hey, I haven't huffed glue for months.
Well, blow me down!
You know what? We misjudged you based on how young and cool you are and not on your actions.
No doy.
So it wasn't you who vandalised my shop last night or called me a rancid old crone from the back of a chopper?
No way. It can't have been me. I was too busy helping my friend Brenda with her maths homework.
Could you speak up there? I thought for a minute there that you said Brenda.
I did, you daft old sow.
Did you hear that, Ray?
Oh, yes, what a wonderful surprise. I now respect you as a man.
Put her there, Ray. Oh, what the heck? Give us a hug.
Sorry to interrupt the first groundbreaking episode of the notice board, but we are receiving some breaking news. I'm being told we are picking up reports from across the continent of what appear to be, what appear to be nuclear explosions in 4 major foreign cities. Initial estimates put the death toll into they put them into millions. I'm being told we're experiencing some power shortages as a result, so apologies for the interruption. And apparently we can go live now to team headquarters for an emergency broadcast from Prime Minister Julia Salisbury any moment. Yes, let's go to that now.
Good evening, citizens and leaders of the world. Minutes ago, operatives working for Advance detonated nuclear explosives simultaneously in 4 major cities across the continent. We have similar devices in 58 other urban centres and will not hesitate to detonate, and will not hesitate to detonate.
We are hearing stories of power fluctuations and what could be minor earthquakes throughout the continent. Stand by. We've lost contact with our benefactors in Urkistan and Konoslava. While our equipment seems to be resetting, can we get this confirmed? Can we get this verified? I need this verified.
They will finally be fed and clothed and educated and healed. But for your privileged few, the moment that they feared is now upon them.
Unprecedented. Our government has committed multiple acts of mass destruction in our name.
A single shot at our territory or harm a single one of our citizens,
Nor do I
we will
care
not
how you
hesitate to
voted.
detonate
You didn't vote for
further
this.
devices.
None of us did.
You will not find them.
Then
no doubt you
can't
are
be.
already searching for them.
We are waiting
Our
further
technology is
news
decades
and
ahead of yours. Ahead of yours. We will expect your complete acceptance of our terms by midnight tonight. Thank you.
I don't really talk about my personal life in my job. It's not relevant or important. So many of you may be surprised to learn that I have a brother. His name is David. And right now I can't get his stupid face out of my head. He's a researcher and he's currently travelling the continent for work. And I don't know where he is right now. And I should imagine that there are many of you sitting at home tonight digesting this news, and you also have loved ones on the continent, in Urkistan, or Havia, or San Palmerino, or Konoslava, which is where David was when I last spoke to him 3 days ago. So when I tell you I know how you are feeling tonight, believe me, I do. But I also know that there's a flow to events. I see it every day here. I know that although tonight it feels like we may be in a time of fear and darkness, we may actually be at the break of a new dawn. We don't know that yet. We can't know that yet, but together we will find out. And I will be here every night, feeling what you are feeling. And with your help, maybe we can all get to that brave new world. My name's Megan Wolfe. Let's make tomorrow better.
And we're out. I've got people ringing around, but the telephone networks are overloaded. Okay. We'll find him.
Do we know exactly which cities were hit, or?
Megan. We will find him.
Hey, เฉยว่ะ
เ
ก็เดี๋ยว
We are hearing stories of power fluctuations and what could be minor earthquakes throughout the continent. Stand by. We've lost contact with our benefactors in Urkistan and Konoslava. While our equipment seems to be resetting, can we get this confirmed? Can we get this verified? I need this verified. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you are receiving this, but if you are, then you have to know. You have to know what's being done right now to our neighbours. This is unprecedented. Our government has committed multiple acts of mass destruction in our name. Nor do I care how you voted. You didn't vote for this. None of us did. This can't be. We are awaiting further news and, oh God. What if they respond?
Cái này là
My friend, her 13-year-old son, joined go-getters. He's occupied now. Busy, even. His room's never been tidier. But he keeps notebooks he won't let her read. And sometimes she catches him staring at her. And last week, she found him searching through her papers. When confronted, he always had a plausible answer.
นั่นแหละครับก็เดี๋ยวมาต่อกันอีกทีหนึ่งได้ energy เยอะมาก